AI is like the word on everyone's lips these days.
Yeah, it's everywhere you look.
But put them together, AI and podcast. OMG, AI.
Catchy, right?
Definitely attention grabbing.
Yeah, and it tells you something about how people see AI, you know?
Definitely a sense of buckle up.
A little bit of awe, a little bit of, oh my God, what's next?
Exactly. Makes you wonder if we're ready for a podcast like OMG AI.
Maybe, maybe not. All right, let's dive into this. The Curious Case of ChatterBotGPT. It's been popping up everywhere, and there are so many AI books out there. But this one, I don't know. It just feels different.
Yeah, it really does have a different feel to it, and I think it's the format. It's a parable, so it's a story. Yeah. It reads kind of like a thriller, but it's packed with all these insights about AI and how it impacts businesses. Nothing like those dry technical manuals that put you straight to sleep.
Yeah, it's like you're learning about AI without even realizing it. You're just enjoying the story. And the author, Myra Roldan, she brings this super unique perspective.
Yeah.
Being a Latina Gen X woman and AI, and we're not talking about the privileged 1% here. We're talking about the 1% of Latinas in the entire AI field.
Exactly. It's crazy, right? It's definitely not a privilege to be in that 1%.
No, not at all. And it really makes her voice that much more important in this space that needs more diversity,
Absolutely. And you can really feel that experience come through in her writing. And what's cool is it's not just a passive reading experience either. Roldan includes all these reflection sections and discussion questions after each chapter. So you can really dig into the material, whether you're reading solo, using it for team discussions, or even bringing it into a classroom.
So the built-in AI learning journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into this story. We're dropped right into this world of Acme Inc., the company that's obsessed with being cutting edge.
Yeah.
Always got to be on the bleeding edge of innovation.
Innovate or die, right?
Exactly. Sometimes, maybe without thinking things all the way through.
And that's where Thad Blandley comes in. He's this low-level employee, super eager to prove himself. You know the type.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And he stumbles across this seemingly magical AI tool called ChatterBotGPT at a tech conference. And it's presented by this how do I even describe him? This larger-than-life character, Oliver Page Flip, self-proclaimed AI guru. And Thad is just totally captivated.
Like a kid in a candy store.
Exactly.
But here's where it gets interesting and, well, a little scary. Thad's so excited about this free AI that he uploads all of Acme's sensitive project files into it. Financial documents, secret designs, the whole shebang, thinking he's, training the AI to be even better.
And this is exactly what Roldan nails in this book. What Thad missed in all his excitement, in that rush to impress, is that buried deep down in ChatterBotGPT's terms of service, there's this tiny little clause that says all user inputs become part of the AI's training data. So basically, Thad just made all of Acme's confidential information public.
He basically turned Acme's data into an open buffet for anyone using ChatterBotGPT.
Precisely.
And I'm guessing this kind of thing happens more often than we realize in the real world.
Yeah.
Companies get so caught up in the AI hype that they don't even think about the risks,
All the time. That's what makes this book so relevant. It's like Roldan is holding up a mirror to how we approach AI integration. Are we really thinking this through?
It's a cautionary tale, but wrapped up in this really engaging story. I like it. So Thad's basically created this ticking time bomb for Acme, right? And things start to unravel pretty quickly. Oh, yeah. Things go downhill fast. Acme's competitors, also trying to ride that AI wave, start using ChatterBotGPT. And surprise, surprise, they suddenly have all these amazing, suspiciously good ideas that sound a lot like Acme's secret projects.
Yeah.
And this is where Cleo Catchall comes in. She's Acme's executive assistant, sharp as a tack.
Cleo's like the Sherlock Holmes of the corporate world. I love how Roldan creates these characters that are just so relatable. What does Cleo do when she starts to suspect something's fishy?
Well, Cleo, she's all about connecting the dots.
Yeah.
So she picks up these snippets of conversations at her favorite coffee shop, The Daily Grind. You know how it is, executive assistants can't resist a little gossip?
Oh, the tea is always piping hot at the coffee shop.
Right. And then she starts digging into Acme's digital logs and boom, she uncovers Thad's disastrous uploads.
Oh, the walls are closing in on Thad. What happens next? Well, the tension just keeps ratcheting up as Cleo races against time. She's got to figure out how bad the damage is before Acme's competitors can launch their revolutionary new products, all based on Acme's stolen ideas. It's like a corporate thriller, but with real-world stakes that anyone in business can relate to.
Okay, so it's got that page-turning suspense, but is this a realistic scenario? Or is Roldan just playing it up for the story?
I mean, it's definitely dramatized for storytelling, of course, but the underlying issues, they're so real. We see this all the time. Companies rushing into AI adoption without really understanding what it all means, especially when it comes to data security and privacy. Roldan's using this fictional scenario to shine a light on a very real danger.
So it's like a cautionary tale, but in a really engaging package.
I like that. So what happens when Cleo confronts Thad? Does he even realize how big of a mess he's made? Oh, he totally does. Cleo and Thad, they go straight to Edison Sparks, Acme CEO, and it's like this intense boardroom showdown. They lay it all out, the whole situation, and the potential fallout is massive. One of their main competitors, Innovatech, they're about to launch this product that's basically a carbon copy of Acme's stolen designs.
Ugh. Talk about a nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
So what are their options at this point? I mean, it feels like they're totally stuck.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. But Cleo, she's like this brilliant strategist, right? She lays out 3 options. So first, they could try to get an injunction to stop Innovatech's launch.
Okay, that makes sense. Seems like the most logical step to protect their IP, right?
Sure, but it's risky.
How so?
Well, if the court denies their request, or if Innovatech somehow convinces them that their designs are different enough, then Acme just looks, weak and paranoid. Plus, they might have to reveal even more of their own work in the process, which could make things even worse.
Okay, so it's a gamble. What's the second option?
Option 2 is to rush their own product to market, even if it means cutting corners. They just got to beat Innovatech to the punch, try to maintain that image of being the industry leader. Classic innovator die pressure.
But rushing a product, that has its own risks, right? What about quality control? You could end up hurting their reputation even more in the long run.
Exactly. A half-baked product could be full of bugs, glitches, performance issues. Not a good look for Acme, especially after all their hard work building up their reputation. And it could lead to some serious financial losses, too.
So it's like they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. What's the third option Cleo comes up with?
All right, so option 3 is the bold one. Go public, tell the whole story, admit the data breach, position Acme as the victim of corporate espionage, and just hope for the best.
Whoa, that's risky. It could gain some sympathy, but it could also backfire big time.
Yep.
They're basically exposing their vulnerabilities, admitting they messed up.
Yeah.
And then there's the potential scrutiny from regulators, competitors, the public, not to mention what it would do to Thad's reputation.
Yeah, it's a high-stakes game, and there are no easy answers.
So what do they do?
In the end, Acme decides to go for a combination approach. Edison Sparks calls it a coordinated chaos strategy.
I love that, coordinated chaos. So they're juggling multiple things at once, filing for the injunction, prepping for an accelerated launch, and figuring out their PR strategy, all while waiting to see how the first 2 moves play out. It's a high-wire act.
Exactly. And it's a super tense and chaotic time for everyone at Acme. Engineers are pushing themselves to the limit, the legal team is scrambling, and poor Thad. I can only imagine the guilt and anxiety he's going through.
Yeah, he probably just wanted to be the next big innovator, not the poster child for AI gone wrong.
Yeah.
So what happens next? Do the injunction and the accelerated launch actually work out?
Nope, not quite. The injunction hits a snag. The legal landscape around AI, it's still pretty murky. And Innovatech's lawyers, they're aggressive. They managed to get a ruling in their favor. So now Acme's really backed into a corner.
That's a huge setback. So do they go with Plan C? Do they go public?
They decide to push forward with the accelerated launch. But there's a twist. Remember Thad's idea for that groundbreaking widget? The one he was so excited about before the whole ChatterBotGPT mess?
Yeah, the one that got kind of lost in the shuffle.
Well, Cleo and Sparks realized that Thad's original concept might be their saving grace.
So instead of trying to compete with Innovatech's stolen design, they're going back to Thad's unique idea. Interesting. But wouldn't developing a whole new product take way too much time? Especially now.
That's where the lessons from the ChatterBotGPT fiasco come in. This time, instead of just blindly relying on AI, they're using it as a tool to enhance Thad's creativity and speed up the development process. They've learned the hard way that AI can be powerful, but it needs human guidance. You can't forget about the ethics.
So it's like Thad gets a second chance to be an innovator, but this time he's doing it the right way, using AI responsibly and effectively. I like it. But while Acme's trying to get back on his feet, what about their competitors? What happens to them?
Well, things get pretty interesting with them, too.
Wait, there's more. I thought Innovatech was the main problem here.
Well, remember all those other companies using ChatterBotGPT and getting suspiciously good ideas. Turns out one of them, WidgetWorks, led by the oh-so-ruthless Victoria Keene, is about to face a reckoning of their own.
Is this another case of AI gone wrong? Did their algorithms turn on them?
Not exactly. It's more like good old-fashioned corporate greed catching up with them. Victoria Keene's unethical business practices finally come to light, and WidgetWorks gets hit with a massive scandal that forces them to shut down.
Wow, so their success was built on lies and corruption, and AI couldn't save them from the consequences?
Nope. AI can amplify the good and the bad in human behavior. Like Innovatech, they're using their ill-gotten gains to fuel their ambition. While WidgetWorks shows that AI can't hide unethical practices forever, eventually the truth comes out.
It's like a reminder that technology is just a tool. It all comes down to how we use it.
Yeah,
Our choices and intentions, they matter.
absolutely. And then there's another company, Titan Tech, that takes a completely different approach to AI. They're all about what they call AI readiness first.
AI readiness first. What is it, like an AI boot camp for companies?
Not really. It's more about taking a comprehensive approach to AI adoption. Like Titan Tech invested in developing policies, training their employees, and building a really strong infrastructure, all to make sure they're using AI responsibly and ethically. They're not just throwing AI at every problem they see, they're thinking about the long-term implications and making sure their AI initiatives align with their values and goals.
So it's about being strategic and thoughtful, not just jumping on the AI bandwagon because it's trendy.
Exactly. And it really shows that you don't have to sacrifice ethics or responsibility to succeed with AI. In fact, it's often the companies that take a more measured approach that end up being the real innovators in the long run.
It's like the tortoise and the hare. But in the world of AI, slow and steady with a focus on ethics and responsibility wins the race.
Exactly. Roldan does an amazing job showing these different paths companies can take in the AI landscape and the consequences that follow. It's a real glimpse into how complex and nuanced AI integration can be, but in a way that's relatable and thought-provoking.
We've covered a lot of ground here. But before we move on, can we circle back to Acme for a sec? Where do they stand now? Have they managed to pull themselves out of this mess?
Let's just say things are about to get even more interesting for Acme and for Thad.
All right, so spill the beans. What happens with Acme's Hail Mary? Do they launch Thad's new widget? Do they save their reputation? Or do they go down in flames?
Well, this is where Roldan really hits home that message of learning and growth. Acme was so fixated on being cutting edge, but it was that blind pursuit that got them into trouble. Now they're approaching things differently.
So no more just throwing tech at the problem and hoping for the best.
Exactly. They've learned their lesson. They're using AI to make Thad's original idea even better, to really push it to the next level. But this time, AI isn't calling the shots.
So Thad finally gets his moment, but this time, he's doing it right. What happens? Does it work?
The launch is a home run. It exceeds all expectations. The press goes wild, customers are lining up to get their hands on it, and Acme's stock starts climbing. They managed to turn a total disaster into a major win.
That's incredible. A true underdog story. But what about Innovatech? They were on top of the world for a minute there. What happens to them?
They may have won the legal battle, but their reputation takes a nosedive. Those whispers about their shady practices start getting louder, and customers start having second thoughts about doing business with them. That quick win they got by taking the shortcut ends up costing them in the long run.
Karma, right. What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
But what about Titan Tech? The AI readiness first folks. What's their story?
Titan Tech, they just keep on thriving. They're living proof that a thoughtful, ethical approach to AI can lead to real, lasting success. They're not jumping on every trend that comes along. They're building something solid, something sustainable.
So we've got 3 different companies, 3 different approaches to AI, and 3 very different outcomes. It really highlights how technology is just a tool, right? How we use it, that's what makes all the difference.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the most important takeaways from the Curious Case of ChatterBotGPT. It doesn't just tell you what AI is. It makes you think about how you're using it. It's a call to action.
We all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI, right?
Exactly. Roldan wants us to think about our own AI readiness. Are we prepared? Are we approaching this with a sense of responsibility and purpose?
I love that. This isn't just a book for techies. It's for anyone who wants to understand how AI is going to impact our world. And the way Roldan delivers this message, it's just brilliant. It's not preachy. It's not overly technical. It's a story that grabs you and makes you think.
And it sticks with you long after you finish reading it. It's a testament to Roldan's talent as a writer and her passion for this subject. She makes AI feel accessible, even exciting, for people who might be intimidated by the tech.
Before we wrap up, I want to go back to something we touched on earlier. Myra Roldan's unique perspective, being a Latina Gen X woman in AI. It's not just about representation, it's about bringing a fresh point of view to the table, a perspective that we don't hear enough in the tech world.
100%. Her voice is so valuable in a field that desperately needs more diversity. She challenges us to look beyond the technical stuff and think about the bigger picture. How does AI impact society, especially communities that are often overlooked?
Technology should benefit everyone, not just a select few. And that's something I feel really strongly about. So if you're looking for a book that'll make you think, a book that challenges your assumptions about AI, and a book that leaves you feeling like you can be part of the conversation about its future, The Curious Case of ChatterBotGPT, is it? It's a real game changer.
Couldn't agree more. It's a must-read for anyone who wants to understand the real potential of AI, not just the hype.
That's a great place to wrap up our deep dive into The Curious Case of ChatterBotGPT. Thanks for joining us, and we definitely recommend checking out the book for yourself. It's a journey worth taking.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those brains engaged. The future of AI depends on us.